Okay, so here's the part of the review. You really want to go over the review homework assignment and do all those problems there. I would, just concentrate on the one set. If you know it, don't spend a lot of time on it. If you don't know it, that's what you want to spend your time on figuring out. Okay. And this is just an old final exam. This is the kind of questions you'll see. They won't, they're at the core of them. That's what the test will consist of. But this is basically just more about, hey, these are the topics that were covered. Okay. So the first one here, I basically want you to plot these points and name the quadrant. Okay. So you just plot them. This is point A. So you're over here on the graph and start at the origin and then go over 2 and down 4. Make a point. Okay, that's point A, and that's in quadrant 4. Okay, 0, 7. Start here. You're already at 0 for x. So just go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's going to be B. So that's not in a quadrant. Okay, so that's on an axis. All right. And then for C, go over to -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go up 3, 5. Was it? Go up 3, 1, 2, 3. That's C, and that's in quadrant 2. Okay. Finding the intercepts. Basically, all you need to do is for the x-intercept, remember 0 is the y coordinate. For the y-intercept, x is 0. So you plug it in and solve for whatever variable you got. Okay. So we're going to plug in 0 for 3y. And when you do that, basically this just goes away. Then you divide both sides by 5 and you get x is equal to 2. Then turn around and do the same thing for y. Plug in 0 for x. Well, 5 times 0 is 0, so that basically goes away. Now divide both sides by -3, you get -10/3. Finding the slope. x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, plug it in the slope equation. And is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and solve for the slope. So you're going to end up with 12 minus 5 over 6 minus -4. Okay, watch your signs there. 7 over 10. So 7 over 10. All right, and you're done. The next one here, you graph the line. All right, easiest thing to do here is just plot the intercepts. Okay. Make your little table. Say this is the y-intercept. This is the x-intercept. I know when I plug 0 in for x, it's going to go away. Divide both sides by -5. You get 4. Plug 0 in for y. Okay. Same thing. It goes away. Divide both sides by 10. You get -2. And then plot those 2 points. All right. So -2 and 0 is right there. 0 and 4 is right there. And just connect the dots. All right. Graph the line by finding the x and the y-intercept. It's the same thing. You just plug zeros in. Okay. So for the x-intercept, y is 0. So plug in 0. It goes away. Divide both sides by 4. You get 2. Okay. Same thing here. You plug 0 in for x. It goes away. You're going to get out 8. And you plot those 2 points. Go up to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And 2 zeros right there. And then there There's your line. Poof, done. Okay. So the next one you got. They want you to find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, this is in that y is equal to mx plus b form. Okay, so there's your slope right there. So -4. There's your y-intercept basically. So 0, 2. Okay. So remember, with slope-intercept form, just start at your b there, 0, 2. Then use your slope to plot another point. So I'm going to go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and plot your point, and then you're done. Okay, just got to draw the line. Okay. Graph the line represented by the equation. Remember, this is a horizontal line. Okay, you just got y is equal to something or x is equal to something. It's either going to be a horizontal line or it's going to be a vertical line. Since this is y is equal to -3, okay, we're going to go down to -3 because that's basically your y-intercept. Okay, draw a line right through it. Right. Next one you got here is determine parallel, perpendicular, and meter. Okay, remember, parallel lines have the same slopes. Okay, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative inverses of each other. If it's not parallel, it's not perpendicular, then it's neither. All right, so you know the slope of this one. It's that. So you want to find out what the slope of this one is. Add 3x. Add 3x. You get 4y is equal to 3x plus 12. Now divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. Okay, you get y is equal to 3/4 x plus 3. Here's the slope of this. Okay, they're pretty close, but one's negative, one's positive. If they were both positive or both negative, they'd be the same. You'd say they were parallel. But since they're not the same and they're not negative inverses of each other, then the answer is going to be okay. Write the equation for the following line. And what I told you in the videos. What's M? What's B? Okay. B is pretty easy. It's right there. That's 4. They give you 2 points. So they give you this point, okay, and they give you this point. So all you need to do is say, how many do you need to go over? We're going to go up over 2, and then we're going to go up 3. So 1 over 2, and 1 up 3. So your slope is 3/2. So your equation, just put it in slope-intercept form, 3 times x plus 4. Done. So that's pretty easy. Probably gonna knock it out here. No, yeah. I don't get back over here. Start back up again. That. I don't know why it does this. Up. Here. back here. You can see it. Oh. Okay, so they want you to write the equation of the line that passes through the point. So this is just like one of the ones I did in the homework videos. So write the equation of the line that passes through the point. So they give you 2 points. So you say x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, you plug it in. Slope equation, so you say 5 minus -2 over 0 minus 3 is going to give you 7 over -3. Okay, so basically your slope is going to be -7/3. Okay, they give you a b right there because x is 0, so you know what the b is. So y is equal to -7/3 x plus 5. Okay. And it says write the equation of line that has a slope of -6 and passes through this point. Well, that's your b. They give you the slope. So y is equal to -6x minus 3. You're done. Number 12, this is like from the beginning. Okay. So this is, got to know that the base here is 2, not -2. So your answer here is going to be -2 times itself 4 times is going to be 16. 13, this is the PEMDAS thing. Okay, if you want to stop the video and try it yourself and then come back, go for it. So there's no parentheses. I got some exponential stuff. So -2 to the third is going to be -8 minus 40 divided by 5 times 2 minus square root of 16 is going to be 4. So you did if you need to, right, put this out to the side and check it off as you go. Parentheses are done, exponents are done, multiplication and division. Remember, you do whatever comes first. So you got -8, -40 divided by 5 is going to be -8. -8 times 2 is going to give you -16 minus 4. So that takes care of those two. Now we're just at adding and subtracting. The signs are all the same, so add them up, keep the sign, -28. You're done. Number 14, this is a simplifying deal. Okay, so remember with simplifying, you just distribute, then combine. Okay, this is, and there's not a whole lot else to it. Okay, so you got 4x minus 20 minus 6x plus 10. Okay, watch your signs when you're doing this. So combine what you can combine. So 4 minus 6 is -2x. -20 plus 10 is -10. You're done. When you're evaluating, remember, this is just plug stuff in. So use a parenthesis, plug in 5 for x minus -3 squared. Now it's just an order of operation deal. So you're going to get 4 times 5 minus -3 squared is going to be +9. Okay. If you want to put your parentheses around that, that's fine. This is going to give you 20 minus 9. So your answer is going to be 11. Solving. I've given you that list for solving linear equations a whole bunch of times, so you should know it. There's no fractions, there's no distribution, there's no combining like terms. I'm going to pick a side, so I'm going to pick the left side. Okay, it's going to give you 6x minus 8 is equal to 10. Now I'm going to isolate it. So get rid of this is the term that has the variable in it. Get rid of the other terms. That's the adding and subtracting part. Okay. And then divide by 6. Get rid of the parts basically that you don't want. So you get basically 1x or x. And this gives you 3. And you're done. 17, same deal. Okay, it's just longer. So there's no fractions, but you do have to distribute. So you're going to say that. So -3 times 2x is going to be 6x. -3 times 4 is -12. 3x plus 5 minus x. Okay. Combine like terms, so I've got negative 6x, 9 minus 12 is going to be minus 3. This side, 3x minus x is going to be 2x plus 5. Okay. So pick a side that you want the variable to be. I'm going to pick the right side. Negative 3 is equal to 8x minus 5. Now let's basically get rid of the adding and subtracting stuff. That sign right there. That's what I need to mark it. It's minus 5. So that's going to give you 8x. That's going to be negative 8. So divide both sides by 8. And that gives you x is equal to -1. Okay. So the next thing you've got here sometimes this thing just does not like doing that stuff. Right. Number 18 is the same as the one we just did. So I'm not going to redo it here. Number 19, they want you to solve. Remember, this is a fraction. You want to get rid of that fraction. Okay. It'll make things a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is the common denominator here is 6. So I'm going to multiply each term by 6. So basically, you can think about it. So I'm just going to distribute a 6 through. That gets rid of the denominator. So what you do is you say 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 2 is 4x. Okay. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. And then 1 goes into 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay. So now you just solve, you got rid of that. So there's no fraction. You got rid of the fraction, so there's no distribution. There's no dividing like terms. You don't have to pick a side. It's already on one side. So it's isolated. Okay, divide by 4, divide by 4. Get x is equal to that. 27 fourths. Okay. And remember, if you want to, you can do it this way. You say 6 times 12, or 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay. 3 goes into 12 4 times 4x. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. 24 divided by 1 is going to be 24. So if that makes it easy for you, there you go for it. Do it that way. All right. So we're going to simplify these next ones, and they've got exponents. Remember, the product rule gives you add the exponents when you're multiplying like bases. Quotient rule is you subtract the exponents. Basically, you subtract the divisor's exponent from the dividend's exponent. Okay. And then you have the power rule, which is what this is. So 2 to the third is going to be 8. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 3 is 6. Make sure you remember which one's which. Okay, people add these all the time or multiply when they get them backwards. Okay. For number 21, just take it. You got one problem. Just do it in parts, though. You got basically 3 parts. So 2 goes in here 3 times. 2 goes in here 5 times. So you're going to get 3 over 5. And then you got 7 minus 10. And then you got by 8 minus 2. Okay. Do that, you're going to end up with 3x to the negative third y to the sixth all over 5. But you're going to need to get rid of that negative exponent because they're going to want you to leave your answer with positive exponents only. So that's going to give you x to the third. Now, I did it using the quotient rule, so I was pretty rigid here. But remember, these exponents are all positive. So you could have said after you did the fraction there 3/5, you could have said, oh, I'm going to cancel 7 of x's on the top and 7 on the bottom. That's going to leave me with 3 on the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to cancel 2 y's on the bottom, 2 y's on the top. That's going to leave you with 6 on the top. It's up to you how you want to think about it. Okay. So number 22, it's the same deal. Okay. I'm just going to reduce this down, and that's what these really are. I'm just reducing the problems. So I got x minus 8 minus negative 11. Be careful if you're doing it that way. Okay. And got y 6 minus negative 2. All right. So when I do that, remember, this is going to be half. So I'm going to get x to the third. And get y to 8 all over 3. Okay. If you want to, you can move stuff around and just get rid of the negative exponents to start with, and then, you know, add or cancel, whatever you have to do. All right, 23, there's nothing to combine on the inside. There's nothing to distribute on the first part here. So you got 8x squared minus 8x plus 9. But you do have this negative set in front of this next part. So we're going to distribute that. So that's going to be minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 2. Remember that negative out in front of the parentheses, it's just going to flip everything. Okay. So make that a little better. Now I'm just going to combine stuff. So I got 8 minus 4 is 4x squared. That takes care of those two. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2x. That takes care of them two. 9 minus 2 is going to give you plus 7. You're done. 24, you're going to distribute. Okay. This is, if you want to think about it, it's FOIL, it's fine. Okay. But remember, you're just saying this first term times both of those. Okay. And then the second term times both of those. All right. So 3x times 2x is going to be 6x squared. 3x times 6 is going to be 18x. Negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. Negative 5 times positive 6 is going to be negative 30. Now, combine those two middle terms because they're alike. No, that's not very good. Okay. And minus 30. All right. 25, all you're doing is a distribution problem. Okay. Nothing else. Okay. A lot of people will do, though, is when they're doing this problem, they'll distribute, and then they'll start trying to combine stuff. Yeah, don't be careful about that, because remember, to kind of combine stuff, they got to be alike after when you're adding and subtracting. So we're going to say, and I'm just going to walk it down the line. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, go to the next one. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 plus 1 is 3. 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, go to the next one. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, and you're done. And none of those, you know, they have a coefficient in x and y, but the exponents aren't the same, so you can't combine anything. So don't do that. It's just going to keep doing that to me. hadn't done it lately, but now it's decided it's going to do it every time. So now you got some factoring stuff. Okay. Remember to factor, I gave you that list for factoring. So you're going to have to, when it says factor completely or factor, you're going to want to run down that list and make sure that you can do it. Okay. So there's not a common factor here. I got 3 terms, but this is not one. So I'm going to have to AC the thing. So you make your table. Okay. So A times C is going to be negative 48. And your middle term is 13. So I'm looking for 2 numbers. When I multiply them, I get 48, whose difference is 13. Okay. So when I'm looking at that, it's going to be, you got 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16. That's going to be the pair right there, because that has a difference of 13. Okay. Remember, since that's positive, that's telling me the large number is the positive. All right. So now I'm just going to plug them in. 6x squared minus 3x plus 16x minus 8. Now it's a factoring by grouping thing. So I'm going to factor out 3x. So that's going to give me 2x minus 1. Here I'm going to factor out an 8. That's going to give me 2x minus 1. Those 2 guys are the same. So I know I've done it right. 2x minus 1. 3x plus 8. Okay, you're done. For the next one here, you got to factor completely. So look at them and say, well, I have a common factor. I got 15, 10, and 5. So 5 is common. I got a cubed, a squared, and a. So a is common. And I got b to the 5th, b to the 3rd, b squared. So that's common. All right. So I'm going to factor out 5ab squared. That's going to leave me with 3a squared b cubed minus 2ab. And the last part here, which a lot of people miss, remember, that's going to leave you with plus 1. Okay, a lot of people say, oh, they cancel out. Well, they cancel out, yeah, but there's a 1 there. Okay, left. 28, that's the difference of squares. Okay, you don't have a common factor, but you have these 2 guys here, which are perfect squares, and you have minus sign. So put your parenthesis up. You say square root of 16x squared is 4x. Square root of 49 is 7. And then plus, minus, you're done. All right. Number 29, this is just a factoring by grouping. So I'm going to factor out 2x. It's going to leave me with 3x minus 2y. Here I'm going to factor out plus 5. That's going to leave me with 3x minus 2y. These 2 guys are the same, so pull that out. 3x minus 2y. It's going to leave you with 2x plus 5. All right, and you're done. When you get down here to 30, all you're going to do is you've got to simplify these radicals. Not a big deal. The index here is 2. Okay, so you're taking the square root. Well, you can't take the square root of 27. So we're going to basically prime factor it 3 and 9, 3 and 3. Okay, so now I've got 3 times 3 times 3x to the 7th. Okay, remember, it's usually the number is going to the thing that's going to take you the longest. So remember, since the index is 2, I'm looking for pairs. So there's a pair. Bring that out. Leave the 3. the 3 left over inside. 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over. All right. 31, the index is 3. So you're going to do the same thing. You take 16, and when you break it down, it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, x to the 10th. Okay. Since the index is 3, I'm looking for triples. So there's 3. Bring that out. Leave that in. Okay. 3 goes into 10 3 times with 1 left over. And you're done. Okay. So let's see here. Let's do 6 here. Did nothing out that time, so that's good. Okay. 32, 33, they're the same thing that you were doing before. Okay, just like the one I just did. 34, that's a fraction. So just to make sure that you kind of get this idea here, I'm going to tell you what, I'll go ahead and do 32. You know the square root of 25 is 5. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 11 5 times with 1 left over. So that's pretty easy. 54 is going to be 2 and 27. 3 and 9. 3 and 3. Okay, so I'm looking for triples. Easy thing to do is you can do it like I did before and put all those underneath the radical on it. But I'm looking for 3. So I got 1, 2, 3. So I know that I can bring 1 out. Okay, so, and that's going to leave the 2 on the inside. So, and then 3 goes into 8 twice with 2 left over. And 3 goes into 12 4 times with none left over. There you go. Okay. So this one here, the common denominator is 8. So if you want to say 8 times 3 is 24 and divide by 4, you get 6x, or you can say 4 goes into 8 twice, 2 times 3 is 6. This is 1. So 1 goes into 8 times 2 is 16. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20x. Okay, you solve it. So let's subtract 6x from both sides. Negative 16 is equal to, what's that going to be, 14? Okay. Let's divide both sides by 14. And that's going to give us x is equal to, now I'm just going to reduce this down to negative 8. So, okay. 35 is just another linear equation stuff, and I've already done that. 36, this is a solve. Okay, this is a second degree polynomial. Okay, so you're going to have to factor it. So it's already set to 0. So all you have to do is you can ignore the 0, just factor it. Okay, and when you AC it or whatever you're going to do, you're going to end up with 2x and x. Okay, and we're going to get 5 and 1. So this is going to be plus and minus. So that's what you're going to get once you've AC'd them. Okay, now you take each of those factors and set it equal to 0. Add 1, divide by 2, you're going to end up with x is equal to 1/2. You got x plus 5 is equal to 0. So subtract 5 from both sides and you get x is equal to negative 5, and there's your answer. Okay. These next two are literal equations. So remember, with literal equations, you're not really going to be able to combine a lot of stuff, if anything. Okay, but it doesn't really matter, because all you're going to do is you're just adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Okay, nothing else. So what I'm going to do is you can kind of treat this just like a fraction, or Well, you can kind of think about it as, if I want to get rid of this 1/3, I just multiply it by its reciprocal, and that makes it 1. So that's going to be BH. And I'll do that same thing over here. Okay, so that's going to give me 3V all over 1. I just don't bother putting 1 there. Okay, now I'm solving for H. So let's divide by B. You get H is equal to 3V over B. Okay, so the next one here, 38, I'm solving for M. So let's get rid of this term. So subtract 2H. That's going to give you 5M is equal to 8D minus 2H. Let's get rid of that 5 there. M is equal to 8D minus 2H all over 5. Okay. Number 39 here. Remember, with all these exponential things like this, there's a bunch of ways to do them, but you could take this and get rid of the negative here by just dropping the whole thing down into the denominator. You know, if you do that, it's not going to change anything on the inside, and then make that a positive 2. You could do that, okay? Or you can just say, I got 3 to the negative 2. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10, and 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 6. I'll get rid of the negative exponents. So that's going to be 3, make that positive, and then make this positive. Okay, so you're going to end up with x to the 10th over 9y to the 6th. Okay, if you did this over here, you do the same thing. You're going to get 3 squared is 9. That's going to give you negative 10, and that's going to give you positive 6. Get rid of the negative exponent. Okay, and you get the same thing. It just depends on how you look at it. Okay, so you got these inequality things. Remember, you're just going to solve them like regular linear equations. The only difference is that you're gonna have to watch out for a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4x from both sides. Give me 4x minus 5 less than negative 17. 5, 5. That's going to give me 4x less than negative 12 divided by 4 divided by 4. And you're going to end up with x is less than negative 3. Okay. Remember, when you're doing these, once your variable to be on the left side at the end, okay, because then you can use the inequality like an arrow telling you, hey, we're going to shade to the left. Okay, so here's the negative 3. It's going to be everything this way. Okay, what's down here is negative infinity. Okay, now you're going to have to figure out, when there's no equal bar here. Remember, you're either going to use an open circle or parenthesis, and you're always going to use a parenthesis with infinity. Okay, if there was an equal bar, you use a closed circle or bracket. So when you go to write an interval notation, you'll have to. So this is going to be negative 3. I'm going to use a parenthesis, but it depends on what they're going to ask you in the program. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do this a couple of different ways. Okay, the first way is to say, hey, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. All right, that's going to give me negative 5x plus 8 less than or equal to negative 12. So let's subtract 8. That's going to give me negative 5x less than or equal to negative 20. Then I'm going to divide by negative 5. Okay, and when I do that, I'm going to get x over there on the left. I'm going to get positive 4 on the right, but since I'm dividing by a negative number, whenever you divide or multiply both sides of an inequality with a negative, you have to flip that inequality side. Okay, and then you go ahead and say, okay, here's 4. It's going to be everything this way. What's down here is positive infinity. It's got an equal to part, so it'd be either a closed circle or a bracket. So go to write an interval notation. That's what you get. Okay. The other way you could have done this was put everything over there on the right side, and when you've gone through the whole thing, you would have ended up with, it would have looked like this, but your variable would be over there on the right. Okay, when your variable's over on the right, you don't want to, you can't use that inequality like an arrow telling you which way to shade, okay, because it'll be opposite. So what you do is you just flip it around and you make it look like that, okay, and then you're okay. The other thing about it is if you would have put your variable over there on the right side, it would have made the coefficient there positive. You would have ended up with 5x instead of negative 5x like we did, okay, and that way you don't have to drag a negative around, which you have to be careful about because, you know, recopying and all that kind of stuff, well, sometimes you can forget about it. All right, 42, 43, these are the same problems that we had with that we did earlier with the exponents. So you got a negative 3 minus negative 9. B, you got negative 5 minus 0. And then you got C, 5 minus 5. That's going to be adding, so you're going to get A to the 6th. Negative 5 minus 0 is just going to be negative 5. 5 minus 5 is 0, so C to the 0 would just be 1. So it basically cancels it out. And then we want to get rid of that negative exponent. Okay, so A to the 6th over B to the 5th is going to be your answer. All right. 43, you could start by raising everything in here to the 4. Okay, that's going to make things really big. Okay, because 5 to the 4th is going to be 625. 10 to the 4th is going to be 10,000. Then you'd have to turn around and reduce it down, which is not going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to simplify the inside first. So you got 5 goes in here once, 5 goes in here twice. 7 minus 3 is going to give you A to the 4th, and 5 minus 1 is going to give you B to the 4th. Okay, and then you raise that to the 4th. Now, one thing I don't really need this 1 up there. Okay, and you can put it there, but you don't need it up there. Okay, because it's understood to be there. Then let's raise everything to the 4th. So 4 times 4, 16. 2 to the 4th is going to be 16. Okay, you're done. Number 44. Okay, remember, you've got to write this out twice. So this is like saying 6x minus 5 times 6x minus 5. And then you just go ahead and do the multiplication. So you're going to get 36x squared minus 30x minus 30x plus 25. Put these two guys together. Minus 60x plus 25. Okay. Number 45 here, you want to start off. There is a common factor, so factor that out. That's going to leave you with x squared minus 11x plus 10. Okay, this is 1. So I'm really just looking for two numbers. When I multiply them, I get 10. And when I add them, I get 11. Remember, this is telling you that the pair you're looking for has the same sign. This is telling you they're both negative. Okay, so you can make your table and do all that kind of stuff. Or, you know. So this is going to be the two numbers I'm looking for are 1 and 10, and they're both negative. Okay, you're done. This thing says factor completely. You can factor it like this right here, but if you don't factor out that 5, it won't be complete. So last page. Yay. Okay. So and what I do is this is solving again. And this is a second degree. Remember, with second degree or higher, you're going to have to factor it. So I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Okay, 7x on both sides. When I do that, I'm going to end up with x squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. And once you've done that, now you just factor. So this is 1 here in front of x squared. So I need two numbers. When I multiply them, I get 12, and when I add them, I get 7. All right. So it's going to be 3 and 4, but they're both negative. So x minus 3, x minus 4 is equal to 0. X minus 3 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 3. X minus 4 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 4. Okay, you're done. 47, these are just simplifying rational expressions. So factor the top, factor the bottom, and then cancel stuff. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going to factor out 3. That's going to leave me with x minus 4 on the top. At the bottom, this is the difference of squared. So x plus 4, x minus 4. These two guys cancel. Now you got x plus 4. You're done. For number 48, remember, you generally want to write these things in descending order of degree. It'll just be easier for you. So I'm going to write this as negative 2x plus 6 over x squared plus 2x minus 15. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to factor out negative 2 there. That's going to leave me with x minus 3. Okay. On the bottom here, I need two numbers. When I multiply them, I get 15, whose difference is 2. So it's going to be 3 and 5. Okay, and the larger number is the positive. So x plus 5, x minus 3. You cancel them two critters out, you get negative 2 over x plus 5. Okay, and that's your answer. For number 49, they like these kinds of questions. So this is going to be, you got a 30-inch rope. It's cut into 2 pieces. So here's your rope. It's cut into 2 pieces. It says the longer piece is 1 inch less than twice the shorter. You don't know what the shorter piece. So here's the shorter piece. Okay, we don't know what that is. So just say x. Okay, the longer piece is twice that. So this is the longer piece. Okay, it's going to be twice that. And it says 1 inch less than twice the shorter piece, so minus 1. Okay, you already know that the total is 38. So if you take the shorter piece and the longer piece, add them together, you should get 38. So basically, as the shorter piece plus the longer piece is equal to 38. Okay, so this is x plus 2x minus 1 is equal to 38. Combine stuff. Okay, add 1, you get 3x is equal to 39. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and you get x is equal to 13. So what does that tell me? It tells me that the shorter piece is 13 inches. Okay, the longer piece is going to be 2 times 13 is 26, minus 1 is going to be 25. Okay, and when you add those two critters up, right, that's what you get. Okay, and when you're doing these things, maybe you need to show your equation. So the next thing you got is the length of the rectangle is 8 inches more than the width. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 100 inches, what is the length and the width? Okay, this is the same exact problem as the one we just did. Okay, here you have the length. Here you have the width. They tell you that the length of the rectangle is 8 inches more than the width. You don't know what the width is, so we call it x. So the length is going to be x plus 8. You need to know that P is equal to, well, you don't need to know it, but the perimeter is equal to twice the length plus twice the width. Because remember, with a rectangle, you got length, length, width, width. So if you want to write it as L plus W, hey, it's fine. So we know that the perimeter there is 100. 2 times the length, well, we're saying the length is x plus 8. Okay, plus 2 times the width, well, we're saying that's x. Okay, now you just solve it like a linear equation. So distribute, so you got 2x plus 16 plus 2x. Combine stuff, you get 4x plus 16. Let's get x by itself. So let's subtract 16, subtract 16. You're going to get 84 is equal to 4x. Divide by 4, divide by 4. You're going to get x is equal to 21. Okay, so what does that tell you? Well, that tells me that the width is 21 inches. Okay, and that the length is going to be 21 plus 8, so it's going to be 29. Okay, and you can check this really easy. 29 plus 21 is 50, and then just double it. Okay, and you get 100. So you know you've done it right. Right. So those are the kind of questions that you will see. Okay, remember this is just a summary. We're just basically going over the topics that we went over during the semester. Okay, so make sure that you go over that final exam review. You're probably going to, and just, you know, if you know what, you know, if you look at the problem, you know how to do it once, maybe twice, but don't spend any time on it. Spend time on the stuff that you struggle with. Okay.